at the time when I was looking into it, they were pretty much saying, this is the end all, the be all, or whatever it is. And we just thought we want to sit back and wait and see what's going to happen with this. But
Lunch with Noam.
Hey everyone, this is Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. Today we're going to be talking about what's working and what's not working in 2024. We'll also be talking about oh my gosh, I just got kicked out. Hopefully you guys can see me. But why don't we just cut right over to the music if you can see me, and then I'll get back to this. All right, this is perfect. Kels, I'm going to have to ask you to get going on this because I can't see anything. So why don't you just take it over from here and I'll come right around. This is going to be a fun one. I'm telling you. Want bloopers? Stay tuned.
All right. So, hey, everyone. It's Kelsey. Let me just take over. Don't we love live here? So before we do anything, if you can make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a thumbs up and share this episode out. Like it for the bloopers, and let's get into today's episode. So our guest is a former Amazon Marketplace executive, current 8-figure Amazon seller, and chief commercial officer at Color More Lines. In addition, John authors the widely popular Best at Amazon newsletter, a weekly newsletter to the top 1% of Amazon sellers. John spent 9 years serving Fortune 1000 companies before joining Amazon, where he served as head of 3P Marketplace for consumer electronics on Amazon Canada, and worked directly with the top 1% of third-party consumer electronic sellers. So we're going to get to John in just a minute, but before we do, we're going to head over to an sponsor.
Hey, Amazon, Walmart, and TikTok sellers, we're in Q4, and I know the pressure's on. So how do you rank higher and sell more during the busiest time of year? Well, as a certified Amazon partner agency, AZRank has the expertise and proven strategies to take your projects to the top, driving visibility and sales across all platforms. With a proven expertise in optimizing search rankings, AZRank guarantees your products stand out during this critical shopping season. You can email AZRank today at hello@azrank.com. That's AZRANK.com. And don't forget to mention the Beard Guy sent you, and that's going to unlock an exclusive discount. And sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, and welcome Mr. John. Hello, sir.
Hello, Norm. It's great to be here. And I got to say, confession time, I've been thinking about this conversation for a month and a half. No joke. You and I, we first met in person at Kevin's mastermind event back in Austin, early September. It's now late October. And I think we had scheduled this at the time, but after meeting in person, I just had so many ideas that I jotted them down on my phone. That sort of gave rise to this presentation, which I'm going to reframe as a menu for our lunch date today. But yeah, I have some fun stuff planned. I deliberately told Kelsey not to reveal it to you, so hopefully we get some surprise faces, some laughs, some bloopers out of you. But it should be a good time. Hopefully it's educational and entertaining for those listening and watching at home.
And also, you're coming with a really great prize that we'll talk about at the bottom of the hour. So everybody stay tuned. I'm sure you're going to love this presentation. So from what I understand, because I've been given very little information about this is going to be about what's in, what's not in 2024 for Amazon. Is that correct?
That's part of it. I mean, this is a 3-course lunch. This is a full-bodied lunch, appetizer, entree, and dessert. So for the appetizer, we'll be talking a little bit about what's in, what's working. The entree is going to be a little beard-themed fun. And then the dessert is going to be sort of a lightning round. Hopefully we can get it all in because I know this hour is going to fly by.
All right. Well, let's get to it. So I think you have a presentation that, Kels, can you bring that up? There we go.
The man behind the scenes is going to run it. This is beautiful. Kelsey, if you want to go to the next slide here. And for those just listening, we're jumping into the appetizers. And I want to kick things off with a fun little segment that I'm not going to claim to invent, but hot or not. And for the fellow millennials like me, hot or not sort of had its moment in pop culture in the early 2000s, if I remember, Norm. And you can correct me. I don't know if it hit your radar back then, but it was literally a website where people could upload their pictures, their balded beard looks, and people would vote hot or not. It was sort of the original Tinder, the original Match.com, whatever you want to call it. People were voting hot or not before they were swiping right or left. So I wanted to bring this theme in here, but apply it to some new or unique Amazon programs that not many people know about, but also programs that have the potential to save people a lot of money, or at least a lot of headaches. So first hot or not program that I want to talk about with you here today, Norm, is FBA returnless resolutions. Have you heard of this one?
No.
So let me give you the 30,000 foot view and then some details. And then I want to hear your take on whether it's hot or not.
Okay.
And I know you probably can't read this screenshot up there. It's tiny text. Of course, it's a screenshot from Seller Central Help pages. And the text is like font size 8, so no one can read it. But returnless resolutions is a new feature, new backend feature that sellers can enable in Seller Central. I say new without committing to memory the actual date, but it's this year type new. And it is what it sounds like, returnless resolutions. So what this feature allows for is sellers to elect to have customers not to have to send product back to Amazon warehouses, where, as many sellers know, that then triggers a sort of decision tree where products either need to be graded and then restocked or disposed of or returned to the seller. A lot of sellers that I've worked with over the years hate the idea of reverse logistics, products that have to come back. What do we do with it? And so Amazon has introduced this feature where they basically say to the customer, if the brand opts in, hey, keep the product, and the brand's just going to refund you money. And I can tell you from a customer's perspective, I love this. I hate going to an Amazon, return center, whether it's a specific Amazon return center or like a Kohl's or a Whole Foods. It's time out of my day that I don't have. And I'll tell you one just infuriating story I had as an Amazon customer in which Amazon sent me the wrong product and then was trying to get me to return it and take time out of my day to return something that I never ordered in the first place. And I had a fiery chat with an Amazon support rep requesting a returnless refund, knowing that that was a feature. But setting that aside, here's the last detail of returnless resolutions that I think is interesting and noteworthy. Back in June, Amazon levied yet another fee this year called the returns processing charge. And Amazon announced it earlier in the year. It didn't go into effect until June after having, I think, been stalled or pushed off a couple months. But the details of the returns processing charge were such that if your return rate on a product exceeds the category threshold that Amazon sets, then Amazon will assess an additional fee on every returned product. It's an important detail because if you read the fine print of FBA returnless resolutions, if you opt into this program, any returnless refund does not count against your return rate that then factors into returns processing charges. So put differently, by opting into returnless resolutions, particularly on products that have high return rates, you can avoid the returns processing surcharges and essentially, trade one fee or one cost for another. So I think my take on this is you need to do the math and see where this will help you. But I like this. For me, this is hot. Norm, what do you think?
Now that you've been talking about this, yes, I have heard of this. And I remember I was over at Kevin King's and I got some Amazon packages in. They were jeans, but the one pair of jeans was like 2 inches bigger than what I wanted and longer. So I called them and they said, "Oh, just keep the jeans. We'll send you the new one." And I thought, well, this is bizarre. So I guess Buffalo Jeans is, have signed up for this. But I love it because owning a 3PL and handling returns, you're going to get dinged. Now, yes, it's a hassle not only for the consumer, but it's a hassle for you, the seller, because you're going to send it back to whoever's handling it, and you're going to get dinged not only that fee possibly if it's going back to Amazon, but you're going to be getting a pick, pack, ship, a return fee. We're going to have to receive it. We're going to have to put it back into storage, and then we're going to have to pick it to send it out. And that's going to cost you money. And these are a lot of those little fees that you don't take into consideration when you're doing this. Plus, the story about what happened with Paul Barron.
That's right, with the diapers.
The diapers. So he has this swimming diaper, and he sent it out, and then Amazon got the returns. They put it back into stock, and they sent out this diaper, and he got a 1-star review. Well, that happens, and that's something that also is, something you have to look out for these, because Amazon's grading them, and then somebody gets a used one, and they give you a 1-star. But this was a poopy diaper. Amazon restocked a poopy diaper, sent it out to a consumer, and what do you think they said? Images were put up. It cost him a lot of money because of these really bad reviews that came up because of this poopy diaper.
Oh yeah.
So this is great.
There are a lot of reasons. So I think I heard you say hot.
I did. Yeah, hot.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of reasons brands shouldn't want return products being recycled into the Amazon fulfillment network. To your point, Amazon is notoriously bad at grading product condition, and there's sort of a sister feature that I'll just mention without going into detail here, called FBA damaged opt-out, which there are certain products that won't be eligible for return list resolution. Hazmat, gift cards, obviously, products over a $75 ASP. The list is in the Seller Central FAQ. But if you don't qualify for return list resolutions, what I'd highly, highly recommend is enrolling in FBA damaged opt-out, because what that says, and you can do it on a product basis, it tells Amazon, hey, returns come back, I don't want you grading them. I don't want you grading them, putting them into Amazon warehouse deals or anything else. Just sideline them, and I'll tell you whether to dispose of them or return them to me. So FBA damaged opt-out is a good related program there. But yeah, return list resolutions, I think it's hot. All right. Let's move on to the next one. Amazon warehousing and distribution product eligibility. Now, AWD has kind of been in the news, at least the Amazon news cycle, for the past 2 to 3 weeks for all the wrong reasons. Those reasons are AWD is full. And the solution that Amazon pitched 18 months ago as, 3PL storage that would then drip feed into forward storage at FCs doesn't have capacity. There's no room at the end. And this is really problematic for sellers, brands who have sort of come around and said these inbound placement fees, just the whole fee stack in general, has caused me to rethink, and AWD makes sense for me right now. So if you're a brand that kind of came to that conclusion earlier in the year, you revamped your supply chain around AWD, and you wanted to send in product in September, you were met with a sign recently that said closed, and that sucks. That's just poor marks all around on Amazon's part. But I have this in our little hot or not segment, not because of that, but because of product eligibility. And the other piece of AWD news over the past 2 months is it has been expanded from just standard size products to include oversized products and to include consumable products or expiration dated products. Two categories that apply to a lot of sellers. I mean, I can tell you with my largest brand, 2/3 of my catalog is standard size, 1/3 is oversized. But I'm not going to split my supply chain to manage half of it through AWD and half through my warehouse. I want an all or nothing solution. So AWD expanding product eligibility to consumables, to oversize, I think is a great thing. For me, it's hot, notwithstanding the fact that AWD is kind of falling on its face in the past, call it 3 weeks, and is currently at capacity. Norm, what's your take?
I'm talking about my partner at Honu, Afalabi, and we were worried that what you're just talking about right now would happen, that people would get on board and then there'd either be a rise in fees, there'd be something filled, would be another one. And I think Amazon at the time when I was looking into it, they were pretty much saying, this is the end all, the be all, or whatever it is. And we just thought we want to sit back and wait and see what's going to happen with this. But to your point, being able to put everything into one area, that's fantastic. And now with oversize and the consumables, that's good for your scenario. I just want to tell you a story that just happened. This ticks me off so much. So this whole, in Canada, it's a little bit different than in the States, where the driver doesn't even ring your doorbell, right? You don't know when your package comes. So I bought my wife some chocolate. I bought these Belgian premium chocolates that they come in styrofoam and they're really great. They don't melt. Well, I got some other chocolates the other day for her birthday, and I go outside. I go out, periodically, and there's the box. I pick it up, and it was just a melted. It was a plethora of flavors, all melted together, and 80-degree weather, 90-degree weather, and why? Like, if they know it's a consumable, and I guess they don't, but ring the bloody bell or package the consumable. So the first thing I did is I don't normally do this. I feel for sellers, but why are you selling this through Amazon, their program, if it's going to melt at your doorstep? It made no sense. So, I returned it. I returned the chocolates, which you can't do. Yeah. You can't do it.
Yeah. There's a whole host of, I think, potential risks with adopting AWD. And even though it has opened up its eligibility, I am still hesitant to adopt it. And I think for you, as someone who runs a 3PL, by the way, I met Afalabi for the first time at Kevin King's event. He's fantastic. Just wealth of knowledge in the 3PL logistics space. I was taking as many notes from him as I think the panelists were. But yeah, AWD, it worries me, and I think a lot of sellers, because Amazon has a reputation for offering just basement level pricing to drive adoption, and then ramping up fees over time. So, they get that lock in and count on people not changing. And, outside of product eligibility, that's been my other big concern with AWD. It's now, this is another, claw that Amazon has in my back. And do I have to accept it? Probably.
Did Hot or Not have a Goldilocks thing, like right in the middle?
No, we're down here in the States, we're a very binary culture. You're either for something or against something, right? Even though life is messier than that. And my favorite phrase to utter is "it depends." But so I don't know. Maybe I'm changing my answer on this. Maybe I'm shifting to not. I don't know. Where are you at with this one, Norm?
I'm a not. I can see the points on the Hot, for the reasons that you mentioned, but just the unpredictable. Well, I just know that Amazon itself is unpredictable, and look, if if you can't get the product now, or you can't get into their facilities, how do you start to plan? How do you forecast? Then it goes back to having your 3PL again. I like the ability to have your 3PL in place and have Amazon and work with both of them. But a lot of people, when this came out, they just used Amazon, like AWD, and forgot about that 3PL. That was really the leverage that could be your life saver if something were to ever happen like this. So if it happens like this, then you got to go back to the norm and try to find that 3PL.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point, which is redundancy in supply chains. And that's the balance you're seeking. You don't want a supply chain with too much complexity, too many nodes, but you want some redundancy. And AWD, or supply chain by Amazon, is you going all in on Amazon and accepting that some things are half-baked. So I think I'm hot on AWD expanding product eligibility. As a general matter, I like that. I'm not on AWD in general. So I'm going to cheat a little bit here, but that's kind of where I sit.
All right.
Let's move on to the next one. All right, product lifecycle support. This is not a new program per se, but this one has been buried deeply, and it's one of the biggest hacks that I offer to brands that are having trouble with their customer ratings and reviews. So product lifecycle support, quick history lesson here, been around since the 20 teens, but as a vendor-only program. It wasn't until the late 20 teens, early 2020s, right around the time I left Amazon, that there were murmurs around opening it up to 3P sellers on an invite-only basis in certain product categories. I ran consumer electronics. Consumer electronics notoriously is a product family that requires a lot of after-sales support. So 2019, 2020, product lifecycle support was opened up, invite-only, to 3P sellers in consumer electronics. Fast forward a couple of years, within Amazon, they opened it up more broadly, but they didn't tell anyone. They didn't tell anyone but for a few people. And there's a great outside company called On-Site Support that was pretty integral in getting product lifecycle support opened up to the broader community. But it is still something that, you have to send to get into it. It's the easiest thing to get into. It's not flipping a switch in Seller Central. The gist of the program is, for a customer, when they don't like a product, they go in their Seller Central or their Amazon app, and they have the option to click a button for a return or refund. For a brand that's enrolled in PLS, that return refund option kind of gets pushed down, and there's an option to contact the manufacturer, contact the seller. And within product lifecycle support, there's different support tiers that you can elect into, one of which is live support. So imagine you have you sell a Bluetooth speaker and a customer can't get it to pair, and so they naturally want to return it or get a refund. If you're enrolled in product lifecycle support, you can basically intercept that return and connect with them for live support and say, hey, have you unpaired and repaired your devices, or have you turned off your Bluetooth on your phone and turned it back on, whatever the case may be, right? And so it is a powerful way to intercept potential returns and refunds. And I have a bunch of success stories with this, one of which is for a sporting goods brand that sells, these $300 kind of game kits. And, we've all had this experience of you buy something with multiple pieces that you have to assemble at home and it's missing one screw, right? Or one piece doesn't have a hole in it, so you can't screw it in, right? And usually that just triggers an entire return or entire refund. But if you're selling a $300 or $500 gaming console, you don't want the whole thing back. You just want to send the part that they need. So PLS is something that enables that. So I'm a big fan of product lifecycle support. I'm gonna stamp it hot. But Norm, what do you think?
I remember seeing this in action back around, I would say 2019, pre-COVID, I think, was the first time I saw this. and I didn't know what the heck it was. When I found out exactly what this was capable of doing, it was like an aha moment. This is exactly what you need. And I'm going to say for sure, this is definitely hot.
Oh, yeah. I think Amazon's hesitation, if I just speculate around rolling this out broadly, Amazon, as you know, has always wanted to deeply control the number one, own the customer, but then
Right.
control any brand customer correspondence. And everything always had to be through buyer seller messaging. Anything else, Amazon has an internal abuse vector called diversion. And diverting conversations, diverting sales off Amazon is a big no-no. Now, in theory, PLS allows for conversation outside of buyer seller messaging, that platform within Seller Central. So I could imagine debate within Amazon around PLS because you're now allowing those conversations to happen elsewhere outside of Amazon Sauron's eye, right? So, Kels, let's move on to the next one.
Well, before we move on to the next one, we're at the bottom of the hour. So at the bottom of the hour, we've got a lot of people listening right now. If you're new to the podcast, we do something a little bit different than a lot of other podcasts. And we have something called the Wheel of Kelsey. And this is when usually our guest, gives away a prize. And it's for one person, one lucky winner. If you're interested in entering the contest, it's hashtag Wheel of Kelsey. If you tag 2 people, you'll get a second entry. So, John, what do you have today for the wheel?
I'm so excited to do this. So what I'm offering the players is a free one-on-one strategy consulting session with me. 30 minutes or an hour, I'll let you pick. I usually charge $600 an hour for these one-on-one sessions. I literally have, I think in every case, made people back their $600 investment and then some. Whether we're doing a forensic investigation into your P&L and sources of lost profit, or we're zooming out, and talking about PPC strategy, CRO strategy, SEO strategy on Amazon. There's no topic that's off limits. And if you literally want to sit through and rapid fire me with 60 questions, 1 a minute for 60 minutes, I will sit and do that. But 30-minute, 60-minute one-on-one strategy session with me.
Well, if all I can say is that this 1 hour session or 30-minute session, whatever you want, it's way more than $600. It really is priceless because you're going to be able to talk to probably one of the 1% in the industry. And, it would be a great, I wish I could get that. Maybe Kelsey, you could throw our name in, but John, that's awesome. You can see that there's a bunch of people already coming in. So that's hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, you get a second entry. And now Kels, as the producer, could you just hit that button for the sponsor? Are you looking to quickly boost new Amazon product launches or scale up existing listings to reach first page positioning? The influencer platform Stack Influence can help. Stack Influence pushes high volume external traffic sales to Amazon listings using micro influencers that you only have to pay with your products. They've helped up-and-coming brands like Magic Spoon compete with Cheerios for top category positioning, while also helping Fortune 500 brands like Unilever launch their new products. Act now. It's one of the best times to get started with Stack Influence in preparation for October Prime Day sale and the holiday season. Sign up today at stackinfluence.com or click the link in this video and mention Norm, and you'll get 10% off your first campaign. I think with AZ Rank and with Stack Influence, I just finished having a cigar. I think you can tell, but little raspy voice there. Okay, let's get back to this, John.
All right. I think this is our second to last hot or not, and we'll have to kind of crank through these quicker. Next hot or not is sponsored TV, which is a new ad type or new ad product that Amazon released this year. If you watch anything on Prime Video at home, you've probably seen some sponsored TV ad spots already. I think from an advertiser's perspective, one of the things that's exciting about it is you don't have to be selling on Amazon to avail yourself of sponsored TV. And you can reach Amazon's 155 million prime viewers in the US is the number I think they gave, anytime you want. And there's kind of unique things you can do if you're selling on the store, on Amazon store, which is throw in a QR code or some other call to action to direct customers to your brand store, your product detail page. But suffice it to say, it's a pretty cool new ad format. I mean, how new are TV ads? But Amazon is leaning in there. I think, Norm, to where I come out on these is I haven't run these myself for my brands. I've seen some cool ones as a consumer, and it's certainly made me think. I've talked to some larger brands that have run them, and general feedback is they're not seeing the return on ad spend yet. So it's looking like it might be more of an awareness play, just very top of funnel, and it might not be a ROAS play at all. But most of them came to me and said they don't feel like it's money well spent at this stage. Norm, what about you? So I get for me, sponsored TV not hot for kind of the 99% of brands selling on Amazon. But Norm, what's your take?
Yeah, it might not give the ROI, but if you're a larger brand and you're going after brand awareness, that could definitely help. I remember Jacob Hines was at an event once when this just came out, and he just like grabbed me and said, "Look at this! This just came out," and I got pretty excited. But exactly like what you've said, I've heard that the ROI isn't there yet. But who knows? Who knows where it's going to go? For me right now, it's probably a not. There's very few brands that I could see really taking advantage of this, unless you're, pretty big.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. All right, Kels, let's move to the last hot or not.
Hey, I know that guy.
So for those listening at home, I've used some Gen AI to add a beard to our good friend, our mutual friend Kevin King. I've always wondered what he'd look like with a beard. Maybe you
looks
know
pretty
better than
damn
I do,
good.
Norm. I think it looks good. I asked, I think I did this through ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT to add an epic beard. I don't think that's as epic as it could be, but it's a good start. So Kevin King with a beard, I'm going to say hot.
Is there anything more than hot? Because that's like two snaps in a Z hot.
Well, Norm, I hope, a couple months from now, we see an emergent beard, or we see something close to what we're looking at on screen, and you and I can take credit for emboldening KK.
Exactly. That's what we'll have to do. The next mastermind, we'll see him.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Well, let's move on to our entree. I know I think we're doing okay. I think we can spend some time on this. Or sorry, our main course. And Kelsey, you can go to the next slide. What I wanted to do here was sort of a tagged teamed listing teardown. And what better product to take down than a beard oil? So for those listening at home, I have a screenshot of the detail page for a beard oil from Everyman Jack, which fun fact is the beard oil I use at home. Depending on the time of year, I'm going to have a different scent if you get too close to me. Summer is normally sea salt. Right now it's fall, so I'm kind of leaning into the bourbon scent. But fantastic product. Really enjoy it. So figured we could tear it down though, because I look at the listing and there's a few things that kind of jump out at me.
Okay.
I wonder, because this is just a screenshot, maybe I share my screen with the live Amazon listing so we can scroll through, because we're just kind of looking above the fold right now. If this screws up, we'll work through it.
All right.
Let's try this here. Screen share. Everyman Jack. All right. Technology working for us.
Perfect.
Although I can't see you, Norm, but I remember what you look like.
I'm the guy with the beard.
You're the guy with the beard, right?
Yeah.
So I'll maybe turn this over to you. You look at
Okay.
above the fold right here. What do you like? What do you not like?
I'm curious. I'm just curious. Are they split testing the main slide? Because when we had it before, there was 2 bottles in a box.
Yeah, you know what? Different variants are merchandised differently. So I think on the screenshot that was the seat.
Oh, okay. I get it. I get it. Okay. So one of the things.
It was the sandalwood.
Okay. There we go. And they should be split testing it, by the way, anyways. If we go back, all right. So if we take a look at that, one thing that I might do, the image, if you take a look at the bottles themselves, they do have a bit of light on the top, but they still look flat. So I might go in and try to make that more of a cylinder look. And that's pretty simple to do with either Photoshop or just with a rendering. I'd also try to play around. I know that I look at a lot of beard oil, and sometimes the package for the primary image might not work. I like the package there. It looks like it's a great package, but I would be split testing whether the package should be there or not. Now, I know that it is taking up a lot of the white space, which is good. But on the other one, the bottles took up the white space. So just depending on your competition, if you're doing a search, is this going to make you stand out anything different than your competitors? And I'm not sure about that. So that's the first thing. If you want to, I don't know if you want to go next and talk about this image or.
Yeah. Well, let's stay above the fold here. I'll give you some of my reactions. I think you hit on something that struck me, which is for a brand like this, and I don't know if Everyman Jack is owned by a big CPG, but they're certainly big. I see, I buy their beard oil both on Amazon and in my local grocery store. So they're certainly omni-channel, but with an omni-channel brand, I have expectations around brand guidelines to bring consistency. And, scroll through a few of these scents here, and the main images are different in each one. Some have the package, some don't.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I like to see consistency there, and it's for me as an Amazon practitioner, and I'm sure you're in the same boat. It's sloppy when there's inconsistency, and I expect more of big brands. I don't know if that's something that's necessarily quantifiable in terms of having an impact. I suppose anything is testable, but I just look at it from an aesthetic perspective, and I want to see consistency. The other thing that I'll just sort of riff on the packaging.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know what you're going to say.
I think they could do better here with some of the benefits and features. It's really hard to read the text. And, I know why. They've just taken the actual package, and whether it's a 3D render or, some Photoshop. But brands have this, I think, mistaken belief that they may need to maintain 100% fidelity to what their actual package looks like. And what I often counsel brands to do is don't be afraid of going above the speed limit a little bit, right? Speed limit, 35 miles an hour. Technically, the main image has to be on white, cover 85% of the square, has to be perfectly representative of the product. But you and I both know that doesn't happen anymore. So how can you go 37 miles an hour in a 35 zone? And I look at the package. Hydrate is barely readable there. I would make that bigger. Made with naturally sourced ingredients, I think is what it says. Make that a little bigger. I mean, if those are the USPs, make them bigger so that they're readable, not just on the detail page, but in SERP. And the last thing that's just kind of weird to me, the swatches for the variations, right? They've done something kind of cool here, but I don't know what these symbols mean. This is bourbon. I know this from buying it and scrolling over. This one, Hinoki Spice, I don't have sort of intuitive sense of what that symbol is. This is sandalwood, just kind of a squiggly. It looks like cross section of a tree.
Yeah.
And then this is sea salt. It's just 3 lines. I mean, I love the idea of playing around with swatches, but I think they could do something a little bit more representative of the actual product there.
Yeah, I think they lost it there.
Yeah. So let's go below the fold.
Okay, just 1 sec.
And by the way,
I want to mention one big thing on that package. What the hell scent is it? So I would take that sandalwood, push the beard oil up, and make that whole space, that brown space, that you can look at it and say sandalwood or whatever the next one is, and be consistent. Even if your product packaging is a little bit different, maybe that that beige or tan turns into green or blue or whatever, but the scent is readable, because right now I've got my screen full and I can't see really what that scent is. And the other thing that is I think a big mistake on their title is understanding what a word means and where it can detract. If you go to their title, they have one major flaw, one big flaw, and that's the word fragrance. The word fragrance means something chemical. The word scent is completely different. And so if you see that, a person that's looking for a natural product or something that's more natural, because anytime oils touch each other, they can no longer be organic. It's either got to be a single scent, and like a lot of the stuff that you see is not really organic. It touches, it can't be certified organic. But if you want a more natural product, don't use the word fragrance. That's the worst thing you can do. So that's just me, looking at a very quick look at the title.
But you're the avatar here. We both are, right? That's why I wanted to pull this up. We're beard oil customers, and I love that you called that out, because they're clearly trying to position themselves as natural, right? Adds a natural shine, naturally derived. Yet they have fragrance, which is sort of incongruent with that. It should be a subtle sandalwood scent.
Mm-hmm.
And if fragrance is an important keyword for SEO, look, I did this earlier. I didn't do it here, but drop it in the alt text, right? Drop it in the back end keywords, right? There's missing alt text throughout all of the images. So there's plenty of places to use the word fragrance on this listing without positioning it within the first 10 words of the title.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
And by the way, the bullets may or may not be SEO optimized. That's a longer exercise. That's not something we're going to do here today. Just want to jump down to the A+ content. And so hopefully it's coming up on your screen. Yep. To those listening at home, we're looking at the brand story. I think they have a good brand story, but going back to what we were just talking about, Norm, naturally derived, outdoor inspired, yet they're talking about fragrances early on. But otherwise, the brand story presents the range of products. That's great. You want to build higher baskets. You want to engage customers throughout kind of their beard life cycle. A lot of good stuff here. I don't have many critical comments. Looking through the A+, I actually think the A+ is better than the image stack, which is tragic because you and I both know A+, it's below the fold on desktop. On mobile, it shows it's a little higher up, but images are the first things that people scroll through.
Right.
And so I think a lot of the A+ content here could be repurposed and used better in the infographics.
Well,
that's at least something to test.
By the way, take a look at that picture you just scrolled by. If you use beard oil, that's not what you're going to use it. I mean, you're not going to squirt it directly onto your face.
Yeah, for the listeners at home, Everyman Jack, it has kind of a squirt bottle, and I mean, Norm, you and I, we put that on our hand and then we rub it into our
Right.
beards. And they have this picture in A plus content of the guy squirting it on his face. Clearly very happy about that, but that's not how you do it.
Right.
I actually, you remind me, I was looking at this image earlier, and there's this great overlay that says 50,000 plus, I think 5-star reviews, but the text is so small and the contrast isn't enough that it's sort of just the 5-star blends into the background.
You
That's the
wouldn't see it.
message that you're going to
Yeah.
communicate. Yeah, say it so that it's visible. Yeah,
Right.
this goes back to what I said. There's things here that look amateurish, and don't kind of meet my expectations for what I believe is a big omni-channel brand.
If we take a look at that, just a sec, I brought it back to regular size. If we take a look, can you scroll back up at the bottles? I just want to see the 3 bottles. Okay, just those bottles. I don't know if it's my eyesight because I'm an old guy, but I still can't, like I see Everyman Jack, but I still can't read the scent. Is
can't
it
either.
there?
You know what? It feels like they're using the color of the text to denote the scent, but I don't think that is intuitive to most customers. I mean, what scent do you think of when you see a teal font, right? Like it's weird.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, they've got, this is where the hot knot happens because something like that, it's a knot. The packaging,
Mhm.
you could change this around so easily. And by the way, if you change around the packaging on this and the labeling on this, and the actual package it comes in, like that micro cardboard, I think you can see probably a higher perceived value. This is only $18. I pay a lot more for my beard oil. And well, it's Canada too, but there's a company called Mammoth. Check it out. Mammoth beard oil out of Alberta, Canada. My kids turned me on to this. They do branding really right. And these guys can learn a lesson from them because I think they're going to be held back on what they could actually sell the product for without, killing the traffic.
I think that's a great point. I agree with everything you said, Norm. And I'm writing down Mammoth because I would pay more for beard oil. I'm happy that this is $18.94 and it's in that price,
Yeah.
but for a 2-pack, but
I can't believe that.
beard
for
oil is
two
very
bucks.
personal. It goes on my face, and when people give me a hug or get close to me, that's the first thing they smell. So, scent is one of those most powerful forms of memory, right? So, yeah, I think they're blowing it here in a lot of ways. Just rounding this out, there's no comparison table in the A plus content, which by Amazon's
Mhm.
own data can lift sales by as much as 8.4%. So there's low hanging fruit. There's more subtle things that we've been talking about here. There's more to be done, but hopefully that was a fun little exercise. I think about beard oil all the time because I put it on my face every day.
Well, there's another thing that I think would really help them out too, and that's under their related videos. If they could have that series of videos that shows you, it could be a product video, but it could be a benefit or a feature. It could be just how to put the bloody stuff on because, I'm not going to squirt it all over my head. But, show somebody, easy to use. 1, 2, 3, open, pop, pop, rub it together, enjoy, something like that. And then you put a thumbnail there and you make sure that when people look at that carousel, you've got all your thumbnails going across looking like it's more educational. And again, it just bumps the perception of that brand up. But I think they missed the point or missed that as well.
I'm glad you mentioned video because I think there's a misconception across a lot of brands that video is out of reach or too expensive, right? Because people have in their head that it needs to be this, high production value, higher models, rent out an Airbnb, it's going to cost me $5,000. No, UGC is great. It works very well because it's authentic, it's real, and these creators do this for a living, right? So you can get, 5 well-crafted, on-message UGC videos for probably $700. Whether you use a platform like Billo, Join Brands, Incense, there's a long list. And what's beautiful with UGC, many of these creators are what are called Amazon influencers. They'll create Amazon shoppable videos, which can propagate to detail pages. And so that related videos carousel that you were talking about, it just gets populated almost automatically.
Yeah, I don't know if this is still in effect, but the one thing when we were putting videos, and we still do on our listings, is that unless you had that one video, no matter what it was, it could just be a simple product video, a product demo, throw it up there. You didn't allow for the influencers to come onto your listing. So you would notice that every listing that did not have at least one video by the brand would never have any influencer videos. So once you put up that one video, now you're allowing for people, like for that beard oil, if I got it, I liked it, I could, put a video up. And that's where there's a lot of impact there too, because those people are driving traffic over to your listing. So if they like the product. Yeah.
I love video like everyone else. And the stat that I always share with people is adding a video to your listing when there previously wasn't one will increase sales on average by 9.7%. That's an Amazon data point that I've known for a long time, but Amazon recently shared, so now I can be open about it. But 10% lift just from adding a video. And if you pay $150 for a UGC creator to make one and then you upload it, you're going to get your money back very quickly.
Yeah. Repurpose it on social media. It's
Amazon posts. Yeah, I can stretch a $150 UGC video in a lot of different ways, and I think most sellers probably can too.
Right.
I think we got about 5 minutes left, Norm. So time for dessert.
All right.
Let's get to dessert. One more slide there, Kelsey. So this is kind of what I wanted to do for dessert. Just I expected we wouldn't have a ton of time. Something of a lightning round of Q4 quick tips. I've listed 4 that I often share with people. I'll kind of speak to these, and then if anything else comes to mind, or if you want to riff on these, by all means. So one Q4 quick tip that I offer to listeners and viewers is to set quantity limits on your listings. And this is really about protecting yourself, knowing that in Q4, black hat activity naturally ramps up. Now, I don't have time to explain how you do this, but in Seller Central and Manage Your Inventory, on the back end of the listing, you can set a limit to the quantity that a single customer can purchase in a single session. And what I often advise is for people to 80-20 this. Look back at your order history, maybe over the past year, and look at orders of more than one unit. And find out kind of the threshold at which 80% of your orders came below that quantity limit. So maybe 80% of your orders were 9 units or less. Set your quantity limit at 9. Because what you're then preventing is black hats from coming in and placing 100-unit orders to hold up that inventory and make you go out of stock while they scoop up all that demand. And just real quick, the reason this is a abuse vector, the reason this is a common black hat tactic is because black hats often have armies of zombie customer accounts, hundreds, thousands. And what these customer accounts can do is place an order with a payment instrument that's never going to go through. But what most people don't know is that orders can sit in pending status on your account for 21 days before Amazon declines the payment method and then takes that inventory that it pushes into reserve when the pending order comes through and then brings it back. So you can literally have a black hat come in and hold up all of your Q4 inventory by using 100 different customer accounts, because those customer accounts can order 100 at a time or 200 if you don't have quantity limits. So always, 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 particularly on your hero ASINs, set quantity limits. and 80/20 it so you're not missing out on any sort of, legit larger orders. Quick tip number 2 is build a holiday storefront. And I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, Amazon introduced the ability to create multiple storefront versions and just have the other ones sit in the background. I love doing this kind of in January, February, so that when Q4 rolls around, you can just easily toggle in your holiday or your event-driven storefronts. But the idea is that your brand storefront should be merchandised a little differently during Q4 than the rest of the year. Number 3, and this is kind of specific to your listings, but where you can, go 39 in a 35-mile-an-hour zone and add some gifting imagery to your listings. Maybe it's just a red bow, but you want to stand out in search. And one of the ways you can do this is for those customers that know they have to buy gifts but don't know what, insinuate to them that your product is a great gift. And then the last quick tip is send excess and overstock inventory to FBA liquidations. Now, this works for a lot of reasons. This is good for a lot of reasons. One of which is if you're at your capacity limits, once you send it to FBA liquidation, your capacity limit, or you drop below your capacity limit because that inventory that went to liquidations doesn't count against you anymore. Other thing is, once you send inventory to liquidations, your storage fees on that inventory stop accruing, whether it's your aged inventory storage fee or your monthly storage fee. So I literally helped a $100 million brand a couple weeks ago who had a problem with, they were staring at their upcoming monthly storage fees. And what we did was literally look at the tail end, the tail selection in their catalog, and we pushed a bunch of that to FBA liquidations. Worst case scenario, it does get liquidated. They get 5 to 8% of their selling price back from the liquidators, or it doesn't get liquidated and it comes back into your stock in 60 days, and then it's a January problem. So it's a great sort of way to navigate around storage fees or capacity limits. Norm, what do you got?
Well, one of the things that I've been preaching about, it's not going to take effect this year, but you can get started on it right now. And you could take advantage of some holidays like Valentine's Day. But when it comes back to this next year, you're going to be locked and loaded. And that's with Google Business Profile. People don't realize that you can create that business profile. If you've got a D2C account, but you're connected to your Amazon account, you can drive traffic over there. That could be your anchor URL, or it could be over to your storefront. A lot of sellers don't realize that with Google Business Profile, you're going to get a lot of extra traffic. Your images are going to be shoppable, which you don't think of that on Google, but unless it's in Merch Center. But this is through just the profile. You can put up all your content, all your press releases or whatever it is onto GBP and start driving some traffic. And what you're going to see is that you're going to, because you can monitor this, how many of these keywords, these unique keywords, and these keywords that they're going to tell you are only the ones that are on page 1 that have driven an activity over to your Amazon listing. But the beauty of this that a lot of people don't realize, this can go over to Amazon, but the same image can go over to Walmart or go over to Shopify, whatever it is, depending on what they want. So I think it's important to give that option. So that's one thing. The other thing that we could take a look at, again, it's coming back to those videos, but just doing a wide variety. Take 1 3-minute video and cut it up into, like, you have to script it, but make sure that you script it into, I don't know, 10 videos that are 20 seconds each, whatever it is. And you can mix match, but you're going to have a video that you can put into that related video side. We didn't talk about the digital coupons either in the coupon stack. That's something that I think is very helpful during the holiday season, is having that digital coupon there and a stackable coupon, like going back to that beard oil, buy this, but buy another cent, get X number or get X percentage off. I think that's pretty big too. So, I mean, there's a lot of little things that you can do, but just because of time, I'll just stop there. But I don't know if you've ever used Google Business Profile.
I haven't, but
It's huge.
now I'm going to. It seems like a no-brainer, and I mean, candidly, I'd just hire someone to set it up for me. Someone like you who's done it before, who's had reps. But yeah, more and more, it's important to diversify off of Amazon, and that might not mean opening up a Walmart, store. It might not mean opening up a D2C store, but starting to plant seeds so that you're less, all in on Amazon, because we've seen the direction that Amazon is going with sellers in terms of extracting maximum value from them.
Well, you know what? There are two other things. One is retail. Retail is a monster, and it could be much bigger than any sales that you ever get on Amazon. You're talking a one-to-one to one-to-many. And although you have to understand retail, you have to understand your cash flow. There's a lot of ways of working with retail, even independent retailers, that they pay up front. So that's another podcast. And the other thing, and this is something you do very well, I try to do a monthly or a weekly newsletter, but it's starting to build that community around your brand. And communities are huge right now. But if you can bring your loyal customers and have that as a loyal community, possibly, I don't want to say a brand ambassador, but people that are going to want to read your information, not these newsletters that are just, oh, we're having a sale. Oh, we're having a sale. Oh, 10% off. It's got to be value, 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 and then hit them with a little something. But those are some other items that I think could be big for sellers.
Yeah, I love that. And, community is one of those sources of alpha that you can't just flip a switch and get overnight. It has to be intentional. It has to be curated. You have to put in a lot of work. But I've seen, and I've worked with durable product brands that you would think would be a one-time purchase, but because they built a community, that community is buying more than one, and they're getting excited over the next product in this series, right? The next drop, the next launch. And to your point, it's because they've nurtured that community in a lot of ways, but you have a newsletter and 19 of the 20 issues are valued. That 20th one, hey, we're dropping this new product.
Yeah.
So you have to do it right.
All right. I think that's it, sir.
Yeah, this is fun. Last slide here, or last piece of the menu, is just my contact information. Obviously, the listeners can't see it. I know it'll go in the show notes, but for those watching at home, this is just, I love using this meme. I have the Vince McMahon crazy eyes meme. It's a fun way of, I don't even know what it communicates, but I've used it in a lot of presentations. So
very good. So one of the main things is the contact John. You can easily go to JON@colormorelines.com. He's also available on LinkedIn, and check out his newsletter. And that newsletter is best at Amazon. And you just sign up, subscribe. It's I've been told it's one of the number one newsletters, and I just subscribed, so I'll be checking that out as well, John. So I guess we go to a sponsor, Kels, and then we'll head over to the wheel. Now, if you're just listening, if you want to be part of the Wheel of Kelsey today, the giveaway, we've got a 30 or a 1 hour consult, a strategy call with John, which he normally charges $600 for. And like I said earlier, it's more than that. It's priceless to be able to sit down with John and pick his brain. So that's #Wheel of Kelsey. Tag 2 people, you'll get a second entry. All right, let's go to a commercial.
Start, scale, exit, repeat. I'm Colin C. Campbell. and I've started over a dozen multi-million-dollar companies in the last 30 years. I spent the last 10 years writing the book, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, to figure out what it is that these serial entrepreneurs do over and over again. We interviewed over 200 people. We created 58 chapters, over 30 illustrations, 180 callouts, and we quite frankly made this book for the ADHD entrepreneur. It's been #1 on Amazon in 15 categories and has won 12 awards globally. Get your book today, either on ebook, paperback, hardcover, or Audible on Amazon or your favorite bookstore.
All right. So one of the things we forgot the one question from Alan, how big of a factor is the alt text?
Ooh, gosh. I wouldn't say alt text has a greater weight than title, right? But it's a factor. I hesitate to commit to a rank order, but it's real estate that is well suited to misspellings. It's well suited to, non-English. So in the U.S., Spanish, on Amazon Canada, French. Anything you don't want on the detail page because it would distract or potentially put off customers, put it on the back end. So alt text, it's less about how it compare or how important it is in terms of recording, and it's more just the fact that it is important. It's useful real estate.
Right. Okay, let's get over to the wheel. Kelsey, you got to keep turning that mic on.
I don't know why it keeps turning off. But anyways, here is the wheel.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right. So thank you everyone for entering today's Wheel of Kelsey. I'm going to shuffle these up. And if you are the winner, please email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com, to get your one-on-one strategy call.
Ooh, Steve Fillion, I think.
Steve is the winner. So Steve, congratulations. Please email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com, and I'll connect you with John. And thank you everyone for entering.
All right. Well, sir, we did it.
We did it. This was fun. I hope you didn't. I hope you didn't mind my surprise, but I figured it's always good to change things up.
I love that format. Yeah, that was fantastic. I hope we can get you back on fairly soon. Not 4 or 5 years, but soon, and do something similar, because I had a lot of fun with that today.
I'd love to. Next time I'm wearing my my $1 Billion Sellers Dream 100 chain. You and I
got mine right there. Yep.
Yeah. we're going to be the chain gang.
There we go.
2 chains. We'll do it next time.
All right, sir. Well, thank you so much for. Want more great information? Don't forget to subscribe by clicking here. Also, if you want to check out our latest podcast, click over here.
Lunch with Norm.